Well, Cody, I think if this is right, people are going to be seeing us live right now through the magic
We're parting.
of YouTube, right? Of YouTube Live. So, folks, thanks for joining into this Smurf stream. I'm Kevin. I'm the game designer, and with me is Cody from Maestro Media, and
Hi guys.
Cody runs all the wonderful socials and all that good stuff. So he and I are going to talk today, and we're going to be on for maybe about till about 4:30 talking about the Smurfs game, trying to answer whatever questions people have. But before we get into things that are in the chat or that kind of thing, but thanks everyone for your support of the Smurfs RPG, and we really appreciate it, and we're really hoping that you can get your friends and your other people on socials to support it too. And the more people we have support it, the more we can continue to support this game.
And the
And
more characters we get to unlock for people to play as too. So
Oh, yeah. Well, Cody, why don't you tell us what's going on with those social media goals and the unlocking?
yeah, for sure. So we went through social goal 1 already last week. So we unlocked a new playable Smurf, Wild Smurf, which is drop something. Very exciting. But we are currently on social goal group number 2 right now, which is super exciting. We are about halfway through it, so we've got 5 people to show off some Smurfs merch, 15 people to use the Smurf character creator, and we had 10 who have created some Smurf digital art for us. Shout out to the Tallness on Twitter, who's been
Ooh, Wizard
submitting into
Smurf, I
everything.
saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wizard Smurf. I don't know if you guys take a look at our most recent update. Wizard Smurf was submitted own custom drawing. I was talking with him via Twitter DM, and he said that his kids actually drew some of the outline, and then he did some of the coloring. So it was a team effort. So that's cool to see the family kind of get together to make it one big submission that actually counted for two because he did the drawing, which is his own digital art, and also
Yep.
made his own Smurf. So, but if you guys want to participate and help get Clockwork Smurf unlocked, it's pretty easy. All you guys have to do is go on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, MySpace if that's still around. Wherever you post it, I'll find it. Maybe there's like a Hotmail chat that
You
they still
you
have
can
open
find things on
somewhere.
MySpace, Cody. Then
I
you
maybe
you maybe you are the wizard.
yeah, I wish. But yeah, it's any of those social media platforms. Send it by mail if you want. If you can find my address somehow. Just tag at the Maestro team and with the hashtag Smurfs RPG, and we'll see the submission. We'll collate it. If it's super cool, we'll highlight it like Wizard Smurf, and we'll get that counted towards Clockwork Smurf. I mean, we're like I said, we're halfway. So 5 people submit in each category, and we're basically there. And then we're going on to whoever mystery unlock number 3 is, which I will not say, but
Hmm.
I can say that it's very exciting. So
Well, Cody, for those of us who are stick figure experts, does the stick figure Smurf count? Because I think to meet that social media goal, that's probably all I'm going to be able to muster.
I think as long as it's blue, I think we can definitely submit stick figures. I think that would count. Maybe a little like a hat, a little pointy hat or something if you
Okay.
can do it. I mean, I've been a stick figure connoisseur myself for the better half of my life, so I get it. The best I can do is some funky shapes maybe with a tracer, but I also can't draw. So you don't have to be like the tallness and blow people out of the water with a handcrafted whole family working on it drawing. You can stick figures are welcome. I saw somebody in a different Kickstarter that we did for Hello Kitty. They just drew a pink dot and then just drew just to put a picture of their cat next to it, and I was like, you know what, I'll take it.
That
So
counts.
like
Oh
it,
yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
take
sure.
the creative ones every once in a while, even if you're not artistically inclined. If you're taking the time to post online, then I mean that's all that matters. So,
Great.
but
Great.
yeah, we just appreciate any support, and I know that it's always fun for the community to engage with, so your fellow Smurf fans. So just get out there and help spread the word by making posts and seeing everybody's cool artworks and cool custom Smurfs.
All right. And so the key is, it's any social media post, whatever socials you do,
Yep.
uh, X, threads,
Sure. I'll look
threads.
at
You
threads
look at
if you guys
threads.
want me
You
to. As
and
long as you're adding the Maestro team and with the
Okay.
hashtag Smurfs
Instagram,
RPG,
of
I'll find
course.
it.
Put it out there. Check it out, folks, and put anything you want up there. And Cody's scouring the interwebs there, and
The
we'll
eagle
find
eyes.
find whatever it is. We did have a question that came through one of the socials talking about character creation, and people wanted to hear a little bit more how you do it. And folks, my fellow Smurfs, it is really kind of a 4-step process. And the process is one, think of your descriptor. What kind of Smurf? Wizard Smurf? Truthful Smurf? What kind of Smurf do you want to do? And so that's kind of what you come up with first. Okay, so I'm going to make Gardener Smurf. All right.
Good
Then you
choice.
go, okay, what's my motivation statement? My motivation statement is, I am going to care for and tend plants wherever I see them. Maybe that's my motivation statement. And then you go from that motivation statement to thinking about your attributes. You have 4 attributes in the game. You have 24 points to spread between them. And what we recommend is for your highest attribute, let's say that I think gardeners kind of quick on their feet. So I'm going to give quick their highest roll. I'm going to put an 8 in there. I'm going to put an 8 as their number, right? So now I've got to distribute the other ones. I don't think that Gardner maybe has a very high mind stat. Gardner,
They're
Gardner's
street
good.
smart.
Street
They know
smart, right?
their trade.
So I'm going to put my dump stat in there. I'm going to put a 4 in there. So now I have an 8 and a 4. And so that leaves me, I've got heart and brawn left, and I'm just going to put a 6 in both of those, right? So a 4, 2 6s, and an 8. We're up to 24. That is your character. So
if I wanted to do something like weightlifter Smurf, can I go
yeah,
over 8? Is that something you can do, or is 8 the highest
you
you can
can
go?
go over 8. We recommend that it's your game, it's your table. I
Right.
think we recommend that don't go above 10 to start. But you could certainly do weightlifter Smurf, put a 12 in brawn, and
Oh
then
no.
take the other 12 points, because again, you a minimum of 4. So then you'd put a 4 in quick, a 4 in mind, and a 4 in heart.
They just call you Boulder Smurf at that point.
Yeah, that's right. So that would be pretty slow, right? So,
Yeah.
but you could do that. You can do whatever you want in the game. As far as the big thing is, when you think about weightlifter Smurf, what would be their motivation, right? The motivation to be the I don't know,
I'd be the strongest if I had to guess, or
to lift everything I see,
that'd
right?
be good.
To
Oh,
lift
I can
everything
picture
I
it
see,
now.
right?
Whenever they need a house moved, you just call in
That's
weightlifter
right.
Smurf.
Just call in lifter Smurf. And the reason why the motivation is important, because this is where you really start to play into your Smurf. If you watch the cartoons, you read the comics, all the Smurfs are laying into their motivation, like Brainy Smurf. I am the smartest Smurf of them all, and I'm going to make sure Papa Smurf knows it, right? Everything Brainy does is to that motivation. And if you had lifter Smurf, then yeah, is lifting everything. Oh, what? Everyone needs to go somewhere. Great, I'll lift you all. You don't have to walk. And you could really play into that. And then when you do, the storyteller will give you a Smurf berry and go, wow, you're really playing into that motivation. And you can earn Smurf berries that way for really playing into that Smurf. And then you can use those Smurf berries later in the game. So yeah, you can make whatever you want, just like when I was growing up, the stores that had every Smurf you could imagine you could buy back in the day, they were very popular at one time.
I
So
mean, I still see. I saw my younger brother was at a toy store recently and saw a little set of Smurf figures and just instantly grabbed them off the shelf, and I'm like, I didn't even like you're 5. How do you know what the Smurfs are?
oh, no kidding.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
know it was crazy because I mean obviously maybe he knows it from me, but you still see people all the time.
Well, they have a cartoon. The cartoon's
Yeah,
on
the newer
Netflix.
cartoon I have seen that. Which
Yeah,
I think
and
that's probably where he got it from.
and that's a fun thing. And then of course they have these movies that came out, and there is another Smurfs movie coming out in 2025, so I hear.
Yeah,
So
no, they're very excited for that. I'm gonna have to make the trek to the theaters. I don't go out very often, but I feel like I have to do it for that. Making the Smurfs RPG. I feel like I've got to go rep the colors.
that's right. That's right. So, in certainly in making this game, I've watched all the movies. I've watched the TV shows, and really, I've read through all the anthologies that Paper Cuts has put out. And folks, if you're looking for more Smurf stuff, the books that are put out by Paper Cuts are great. They did 5 anthologies of Peyo's work. great stuff. If you're a Smurfs fan, I think the anthologies are, a must have.
So you're a
But
smurfing encyclopedia, probably then at this
a
point.
little bit, I'm sure there are people who know more, right?
That's fair.
I'm very grounded in the stuff that's been put out by Paper Cuts, and very grounded in the '80s cartoon. I know the newer stuff, and I know the newer cartoon on Netflix, but I'm a little weaker.
Yeah,
I'm,
right.
I'm a little weaker in that area,
That
right?
makes sense.
But otherwise, so we did have one question. I'm just going to it. And Cody, we had a question about the product. They were talking about one question we had from Martin was, besides the collector tome, what's the difference between the Smurfette and Papa Smurf tiers? And when I look at it, and again, I'm the writer. I'm not the creator of the packages. I think that is the difference. The collector tome. Is there a difference between those two?
So yeah, the collector tome. It's. I mean, as it says, it's a collector tome. There's only going to be so many of them printed, so that is the key difference between the two
Okay.
tiers currently. So
And they both are all in tiers. The
so the tiers above them each are the all in tiers. So Smurfette's tier and Papa Smurf's tier are not all in tiers, but they have the core set of things that you need to
Okay.
play with. The all in tiers that have all the goodies in them are Farmer Smurf's all in set,
Okay.
which is the equivalent to Smurfette's, and then Smurf Willow's all in collector set is the one that is what is lined up with Papa Smurf. So those two are not Papa Smurf and Smurfette are not all in tiers, but they do they have everything you need to play with. I mean, like Papa Smurf's has that is a very very cool faux leather tome, which houses everything in it. So
Yeah.
those are the key different. That is the key difference between the two tiers, though. So
Well, I
hopefully
think
that
for
covers that.
people, I think for people, for role playing game folks, I think probably the most exciting things in there are some of the things that kind of we like the dice,
Mm.
both the standard dice, but also those crystal dice. Yeah,
Yeah, the resin ones with the little
the
Smurfs
resin
inside of
ones.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it.
yeah.
Those. I'm very excited for that. Probably my
As
favorite
a
thing
as a
coming
dice
out of this.
person, I'm not
Mhm.
quite a dice goblin, but
I am a
I'm
dice goblin. I don't have it in
yeah.
this room, but I have a wooden chest that is like full of dice. So
Yeah. So for all the dice goblins out there, there are some cool dice that are part of this,
yeah.
including the oversized Smurf Power die, which again has 4 faces that are regular and 2 faces that are these critical faces, right? So you have every time you roll that, you have a 1/3 chance of scoring a critical success. The other thing in there, of course, the tray. I really like the rolling tray, and I always like a GM screen. So I
Oh
know
yeah.
that I know.
I feel like you gotta have one that's lined up for the game you're playing. You don't want to go into Dungeons and Dragons with the My Little Pony GM screen. Like I always think that I like to match them with my games I'm playing, and
Yeah.
I like the artwork that's on this one. So very very excited. So you kind of sound like you know what you're talking about here,
And
huh?
and Martin, I see in the thing that tackle boxes are good for storing dice, and that is exactly what I
Oh.
use to store all my RPG stuff. So if you see me at a con, and I'll be at Arcane Con this weekend, I'll be at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Exposition 2 that's coming up, and I'll be at Total Con for those going to those conventions. I'm the guy with the tackle box that has like burn 2d6 stickers on it and all sorts of
Do you
stuff.
have
So
the matching fishing pole or just the box?
I don't bring a fishing pole, just the tackle box. After I retired my fishing pole, that's exactly what I did. I took a tackle box that I have. I still have a
Waste not,
couple of
want not.
others,
That's a
but
good trick. I
yeah,
never knew about that.
but that is a great one for storing dice. But also, in the bottom of that tackle box, there's a lot of room there. So not only can you store a lot of dice, but if you have figures, if you have some of the smaller form RPG books, you can put them in there.
Oh man,
Pencils, pens, all sorts
you're
of
gonna
stuff.
convince
My
me to buy a tackle
markers.
box pretty soon here.
I don't. Go to any a garage sale this weekend if you can find a garage sale. People have tackle boxes all over the place.
Oh
You don't
man,
need to buy one new. Go buy one that someone has. Ask around to your friends. Someone has a tackle box that you can use, Cody. I am
I'm gonna
sure of
buy a
it.
tackle box. I'm gonna show up as fishing Smurf to my table, and I'm gonna be in full character.
That would be great. If you live nearby, I've got like 2 or 3 more tackle boxes in my
Yeah, I'll
basement.
just make a quick run over there.
I would give them to you, but we do not live near each other, so
No,
that's not going to work.
unfortunately. But back on track.
Sure.
We only have 30 minutes. I don't know if we want to talk for 20 about the tackle boxes as much as I love them. I did see a question that somebody asked before this stream, which is we've heard a lot about Brainy and Smurfette's books, but do you know you want to give people a rundown of kind of what's in Papa Smurf's Guide to Magic and Adventure? Because I feel like that's the book we haven't talked a lot about.
Yeah, it's kind of a great question. I mean, I think that certainly the Quick Start Guide gives a lot of the rules, but doesn't give you the rules on Magic, and all of that is in Papa Smurf's Guide to Magic and Adventure. And not only do we provide the rules on magic, but the rules on magical creation. So the creation of new things, the creation of potions, the creation of magical objects that you can do in the game. And of course, they require ingredients. And there's always a chance, if you've watched the Smurfs, you know this, there's always a chance of an explosion when you are working with magic. These are tricky powers. These are tricky things. So the Smurf power die plays a different role when you're doing a magic roll. Usually when you're making an action roll and you use Smurf power, you reduce the die difficulty and you roll the Smurf power die instead. And if you get one of the critical sides, you do an incredibly Smurfy success. When we go to Magic, now the Smurf Power Die plays a little bit of a different role. And you have to use Smurf Power when you cast Magic. First of all, you have to. And when you roll it, if you roll one of those critical sides, the magic blows up. So you have to have all the ingredients, and there are different difficulties. But then if you are unlucky enough to roll that Smurf critical, so Magic can be a trial and error process. And if you watch it and you watch Brainy fail and kind of blow up Papa Smurf's lab when he hasn't been around, you know that as the Smurfs try magic, it's not always the first time that they are successful. So we have some fun things there. We also, and for those, because you're watching this stream, for our massive audience that we have, I'll tell you this. We have a guest appearance, a guest writer who makes their appearance in Papa Smurf's Guide to Magic and Adventure. And that's right, our friend, that dastardly guy Gargamel.
I was wondering when he was going to show up. I've been looking through some of the stuff, and I hadn't seen him yet.
He shows up and writes his own version of some things into Papa Smurf's Guide. So we do have kind of a takeover at a certain point in Papa Smurf's Guide, and you'll get to get some of the magical insights from Gargamel the Wizard, which is a fun part of that book. And not only will you get to hear from him in his remarks and commentary on the magic of Papa Smurf and people like him, but you'll get to see some of his favorite dastardly potions that he loves to use on those little blue gnomes. So it's actually a very fun part of the book. So I'm very excited for folks to see that one. And again, the books that are getting out there go far beyond what's in the Quick Start Guide. So I think everyone's going to have a lot of fun with those books. Well, at the same time, they're very clear about what the rules are, and but at the same time are lighthearted the way the Smurfs should be.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, then anyone can do Smurf magic. It's just a matter of having all the ingredients and but potential Smurf explosion if you're not rolling properly.
That's right. Although and this probably isn't a secret for everyone, the heart attribute is the key to casting magic in the game. So or to using magic, to creating potions. The Smurfs are all about potions and recipes, right? Every bit of magic is really just a recipe. And so you have to get the ingredients together, you have to mix them, and then you're going to be making a magic roll, which includes the heart attribute. So if you really want to work with magic in this game, you want a high heart attribute to do that. But any Smurf could do it. And I think you've seen that in the cartoons even, where someone else clumsy or someone else will try to do a spell, a recipe, and sometimes they have unpredictable results. And so all of that will guide you through that in Papa Smurf's Guide. One thing I love about the Smurfs is that they're helpers, right? They're problem solvers. But they also sometimes create their own problems, and they're pretty good at solving the problems they create for themselves. So
And
they're
that's the
kind
kind of
of
thing that creates magic at the table too, like not literal magic in the game, but figurative. Is I think when everybody loves when things go right, and a plan comes into place. But having to pivot off of the random things that happen when Clumsy Smurf does, think magic goes wrong, I think makes some of the most memorable moments at the table, at least in my groups.
Yeah, absolutely. What magical mishaps? What goes wrong when magic goes wrong? So, yeah, so it will create those kind of moments at the table. Well, at the same time, probably having a lot of the other Smurfs, if you are playing Brainy and you mess up, a lot of the other Smurfs who work so hard to get you those ingredients, they probably will yell out, just like in the cartoon, Brainy, so there'll be some heartbreak around that. And at the same time, the NPC versions, not the player character versions, but the NPC versions of people like Homnibus and Papa Smurf are a lot better at magic than your average Smurf. So if you have those NPCs around, they give you a bit of an advantage as well as they help you out.
And we haven't talked a lot about the NPCs, so I imagine I'm just the community manager. I just say hi to everybody, come here and look pretty. You know the meat and potatoes of everything. But I imagine they have a similar stat block to a lot of the Smurf characters, and they'll or they have a different page that you fill out for them.
Yeah, so the NPCs are different, because in this game, all the roles are player facing roles, right? Folks, if you're familiar with the player facing role games, the GM, or the storyteller in this game, it doesn't make roles, other than maybe some random tables to help generate ideas for adventures. They do not roll. The players make all the rolls. And what that means is that your NPCs look a little bit different. They actually don't have the same stats as the PCs. So they have really just two stats. They have an effort max and they have a difficulty level. So the effort max this is how much effort they can lose before they're done for. Okay. And so they can range anywhere from a 2 or a 1, a 2, all the way up to a 14 or even greater for some of your bigger villains. The difficulty level is a dice number. So it could be 1d6, 2d6, 3d6, 4d6. What that means is when you are a Smurf and you're facing that opponent, irregardless of any other circumstance, you're going to be rolling that number of dice in difficulty. So if Gargamel is a 3d6 opponent, every time you're in some kind of direct opposition to Gargamel, and it could be simply you're running away from him, the challenge of your roll starts at 3d6. And then we go, are there other factors that make it more difficult? So for your NPCs, it's real simple, especially, you run games. So, as a GM, a storyteller, your NPC is going to be easy for you to run because you're going to look and you're going to go, oh, well, Gargamel's 3d6. So you're trying to, in some way, oppose Gargamel, run away, or grab something from him. All those rolls begin at 3d6, and then you can add even more difficulty to it. And then you have a minion level kind of opponents. And those minion level opponents are more of, a 2d6 kind of opponent or lower. They're not very hard. And of course, you can always, when you're facing opponents, you can always magnify the effect of anything you're doing by adding additional dice yourself. Your player might say, hey, it's a 2d6 roll, but I want to add an additional die to the difficulty here. Because what I want to do is I want to handle more than one NPC at once. And for those with a low effort max of like a 2 or a 3, you could handle up to 4 at once by adding an additional die of difficulty, which is a good way of, one, speeding up confrontations, right? If you're running away from, a group and they're low level, you can handle all in a single die roll. Whereas if you're facing a more powerful enemy, you really do have to face them one-on-one, and it's going to be hard for you to increase by just adding difficulty to deal with them. So we'll see. Anyway, the full rules go into all of that, and it's made to be so that players and storytellers can deal with these roles quickly, determine success, add that element of risk, while at the same time focusing on the story that you're telling, focusing on moving the action along.
Makes
So
sense.
hopefully, Cody, you won't have a 2-hour chase between
No, that's the
Gargamel and the
worst.
Smurfs through the woods.
Yeah, you got this quick encounter planned, and then it ends up running 45 minutes, and now you've got to scrap something down the road. But
That's
I
right.
think we're getting ready to wrap up here pretty
Yeah, we
soon.
got
But
about 5 minutes left.
so if anybody has any questions, feel free to let us know. Otherwise, I was just wondering personally myself, Kevin, what's been your favorite part about working on this Smurfs RPG?
Oh,
What's,
well,
what's
hold
your
on. I
favorite
saw a
book? Yeah,
comment
anything?
from Lucy, and,
Oh,
and Lucy was saying having fun is the most important thing. And, absolutely having fun is the most important thing. And that's the whole point of the Smurfs game. I did read the interview today that Javon and I did with, what was it, Fundamentals?
yeah. Check that out, guys, if you haven't seen it yet.
And good, a very a fun interview. And the point is, there's a lot of darkness out there, folks. A lot of grim games, and they're out there. There are tons of them you can play if you want to do something grim. But if you want to do something lighthearted, you want to do something fun, you want to bring in your kids or young folks and want to give them a lighthearted look at gaming, or maybe your grimdark game is on a Friday night that you're running, wants to go a little lighter one evening. Bring out the Smurfs. Everyone will have a good time playing the game. They'll have a lot of fun, especially when you go through and folks see how easy character creation is, and they can create whatever zany kind of Smurfs they want to create. And that part of it is where you're going to bring a lot of the hilarity to the table.
Yeah, no, my younger brother is starting to get of the age where he's reading a lot better and all that. So I think next time I see him, I'm gonna see if I can get the quick start guide out, and maybe I can convince my dad, who hasn't played a tabletop RPG in about 25 years, to sit down with us. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can be, and that's the thing. This could be a fun game for the whole family. And the other thing about it is designed in a way to really move along. And so, sometimes when you sit down on a table to play a role playing game, you don't want to spend 4 hours, right? And maybe you have 90 minutes, maybe you have 2 hours. You can run a complete adventure of the Smurfs in that time. You also can take 4 hours if you have 4 hours and do a larger adventure. But the game really is designed so that folks can have fun, run a quick adventure. And for role playing games, 90 minutes to under 2 hours is pretty quick.
I was gonna say, because the live play that Jason Azevedo did, who you guys have met on the previous streams, and we'll probably see him next week or the week after on a stream as well. He did that live play at Gen Con in about an hour and a half, and it
Yeah,
was
is that
very,
what it
very
came in at?
succinct. Yeah,
Yeah.
about an hour and a half, hour 45. So I mean, very succinct story, told the whole everything it needed to, flowed really well. So it is nice to kind of have something that's not taking up your whole night or your whole evening. You can kind of sit down and play this, maybe even as a warm up. I've done that before with one shots before, in very like short, simple systems. So
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who was on the live stream. Everyone did a great job. It was fun to watch the game come to life on the live stream for Gen Con. Folks, if you haven't seen it and you're watching this video, the Gen Con video is right now up on the Kickstarter page. It's right there, and you can click on it. It's fun to watch some of these. Listen, Cody and I are amateurs. We're not streamers. We're not
as you can tell by the
podcasters, right?
background, I don't
Yeah,
even
that's
have a
right.
fancy Smurfs background like you do.
So, and these are folks who are super engaging. Christian Navarro and Jason and the whole group there are really just compelling folks to watch. And
Yeah, I mean Clay
that's what those
McElroy
actual
dressed up as Papa
Papa
Smurf.
Smurf.
He had full cosplay. So like you
That's
got you
right.
got you got to see it. You got to see it to believe it, man.
So fun stuff. Not Cody and I, we're doing okay though, right? We're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
we're not doing too badly.
I
So
think so. I hope so.
yeah, so we're coming up on the end of this. So what we're going to do is we are going to do another stream next week when Jason's back, and maybe see if we can get the three of us on there with like Hollywood Squares And Lucy, maybe we can get Lucy to come on
I say
too,
we
huh,
could get another
Lucy?
person from the Maestro
Yeah,
team because we've got lots of designers and people that know the game in and out. But I would be nice to
yeah.
see a Lucy or a Javon or somebody
Yeah,
else from
sure,
the
we can
team
get
pop
them on
in.
there. The only thing I want to mention, while people are coming as we're coming to the end of this, folks, I will be on a stream of the Smurfs game Saturday night. We'll put it out on the socials and everything else. I'm raising money for children's hospitals. So myself and a few other local players from around here are going to get on. We're going to run the game. It'll be about maybe 2 hours, something like that. And we're going to run through a scenario you haven't seen before. And we'll all have, a lot of fun while at the same time raising money through Extra Life. If folks know Extra Life, you can Google it, go to Extra Life, and you can look up my name, Kevin Borup, and you'll see my profile up there and the money that I'm trying to raise for Children's Hospital. So, so come and watch if you want to see how a game runs, and you want to see some people laugh and have a good time. Tune in. The link to the live stream is up on this channel. So if you're on my channel, you'll see it. And and so that's really it. So Cody, I guess enough said, right?
Yeah,
We
I mean
good?
we ran over 2 minutes, so you guys got 2 more minutes. You had 2 extra minutes of our beautiful faces. So and I am glad though that you got to shout that out, Kevin, because I mean it's a great cause, and you mean never before seen Smurfs RPG content. So you're having fun and you're raising money at the same time.
All right, folks. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye guys, see you soon.